Nigeria produces some of the most confident people on earth. Walk into any room with a Nigerian, and you'll notice something different. There's an energy, a presence, a way of carrying themselves that makes others take notice. For decades, this phenomenon was dismissed as cultural quirk or stereotype. But now, universities across America, Europe, and Asia are dedicating entire research departments to understanding what they're calling the Nigerian confidence code. Nigerian confidence isn't just cultural bravado. It's a sophisticated psychological framework that's been passed down through generations, creating one of the most resilient mindsets on the planet. Today we're diving deep into this remarkable story. We'll explore how a nation that faced colonization, civil war, economic challenges, and countless obstacles managed to produce people who walk into boardrooms in New York, London, and Tokyo with unshakable self-belief. We'll meet the researchers who are trying to decode this confidence, the Nigerians who embody it, and discover why major corporations are now hiring Nigerian executives specifically for their mindset. This isn't just about one country. This is about understanding a form of confidence that could transform how we think about success, resilience, and human potential. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the world is studying Nigerian confidence and how you can apply these principles to your own life. The story begins in 2019 at McKinsey's London office. Lillian, a senior partner, noticed something peculiar in their hiring data. Nigerian candidates, despite often coming from less privileged backgrounds than their European counterparts, consistently outperformed in leadership assessments. They scored higher on confidence metrics, showed greater resilience under pressure, and demonstrated what psychologists call positive self-regard at levels that seemed almost impossible. Lillian wasn't the only one noticing this pattern. Tech companies in Silicon Valley reported similar findings. Nigerian engineers and entrepreneurs weren't just succeeding, they were displaying a type of confidence that seemed immune to imposter syndrome. While their colleagues from other backgrounds struggled with self-doubt, Nigerians appeared to possess an internal compass that kept pointing towards success. Dr. James Okafor, a Nigerian psychologist, decided to investigate. What he discovered changed everything. Nigerian confidence wasn't random or genetic. It was systematic, learned, and deeply embedded in the culture's approach to child rearing, community interaction, and personal identity. The breakthrough came when Dr. Okafor analyzed childhood development patterns in Nigerian families compared to Western families. Nigerian children, he found, were raised with what he termed assumed excellence. From birth, they were told not that they could be great, but that they already were great. The question wasn't whether they would succeed, but how magnificently they would succeed. This wasn't empty praise or participation trophies. Nigerian parents combined high expectations with unwavering belief in their children's capabilities. They created an environment where confidence wasn't something to be built. It was something that already existed and simply needed to be expressed. The implications were staggering. If confidence could be systematically developed through cultural practices, it meant that the Western approach to building self-esteem might be fundamentally flawed. Instead of trying to convince people they were worthy, perhaps the key was to start from the assumption that they already were. The cultural foundation. To understand Nigerian confidence, we need to understand its roots. Nigeria is home to over 250 ethnic groups, each with distinct traditions, but they share common approaches to human development that create this remarkable confidence. The foundation starts with naming ceremonies. In many Nigerian cultures, Children receive names that are declarations of greatness, names like Chioma, meaning God is good, or Kelechi, meaning thank God, aren't just identifiers. They're daily affirmations spoken by everyone who addresses the child. Imagine growing up hearing God's gift, or God's blessing, every time someone calls your name. But the real magic happens in the storytelling tradition. Nigerian children grow up hearing stories where the heroes aren't distant figures, but people who look like them, come from similar backgrounds, and face similar challenges. These stories don't end with "maybe you can do this too." They end with "this is what people like us do." Dr. Amara Okonkwo, a cultural anthropologist, explains that Nigerian cultures have what she calls collective confidence. Individual success isn't seen as personal achievement alone, but as validation of the entire community's potential. When one person succeeds, it proves that everyone in that community has the same capability. This creates a psychological environment where confidence becomes contagious. Children don't just learn that they can succeed, they learn that success is their birthright, their responsibility to their ancestors, and their gift to future generations. The extended family system reinforces this daily. Nigerian children typically grow up surrounded by aunts, uncles, grandparents, and family friends who all participate in building their confidence. It's not unusual for a Nigerian child to have dozens of adults telling them they're destined for greatness. This isn't casual encouragement, it's systematic confidence programming. Religious practices add another layer. Whether Christian, Muslim, or traditional African religions, Nigerian spiritual practices emphasize human beings as blessed, chosen, and destined for prosperity. Children grow up believing that divine forces are actively working in their favor. The result is a mindset that Dr. Okonkwo describes as confident expectation. Nigerians don't hope for success. They expect it. They don't wonder if they're capable. They assume they are. This isn't arrogance. It's a deeply held belief in their own potential that's been reinforced by every aspect of their cultural experience. The resilience factor. Nigerian confidence isn't just about feeling good. It's been tested by some of the harshest circumstances imaginable. Nigeria has faced colonization, civil war, economic instability, and countless challenges that would break the spirit of many societies. Yet Nigerian confidence not only survived these trials, it was strengthened by them. Dr. Falake Adebayo, a trauma psychologist who studied post-conflict communities in Nigeria, made a remarkable discovery. Nigerians who lived through the civil war of the late 1960s didn't develop the learned helplessness that psychologists typically see in trauma survivors. Instead, they developed what she calls anti-fragile confidence, a mindset that actually grows stronger under pressure. The secret lies in how Nigerian culture frames adversity. Instead of seeing challenges as evidence of personal inadequacy or bad luck, Nigerians are taught to view obstacles as tests of their greatness. The bigger the challenge, the greater the opportunity to prove their exceptional nature. This reframing is deeply embedded in Nigerian proverbs and wisdom traditions. Sayings like "the palm tree that wants to reach the sky must be ready to weather many storms" teach children that difficulty isn't the opposite of success, it's the pathway to success. Dr. Adebayo documented how Nigerian families discuss setbacks. Instead of focusing on what went wrong or who's to blame, conversations center on what can be learned and how the experience proves the person's strength. A business failure becomes evidence of entrepreneurial courage. A job rejection becomes proof that the person is too valuable for that particular opportunity. This approach creates what psychologists call cognitive resilience. Nigerians develop mental frameworks that automatically transform negative experiences into confidence-building opportunities. They don't just bounce back from failure, they use failure as fuel for greater confidence. The community aspect is crucial here. When a Nigerian faces a setback, the entire extended network rallies, not just with support, but with reminders of the person's inherent greatness. The message isn't "you'll get through this," but this is just another chapter in your success story. International researchers studying Nigerian immigrants found that this resilience translates remarkably well to new environments. Nigerians moving to countries with different cultural norms maintain their confidence levels and often exceed local performance metrics within years of arrival. The global impact. The Nigerian confidence phenomenon isn't contained within Nigeria's borders. Nigerian immigrants are making waves across the globe, and their success patterns are forcing researchers to reconsider fundamental assumptions about confidence, success, and human potential. In the United States, Nigerian Americans have the highest educational attainment of any immigrant group. They're more likely to hold advanced degrees than any other demographic, including native-born Americans. But the statistics that really caught researchers' attention weren't about education, they were about leadership and entrepreneurship. Dr. Michael Roberts conducted a 5-year study of Nigerian entrepreneurs in major American cities. His findings were extraordinary. Nigerian-founded startups had higher survival rates, attracted more investment, and scaled faster than the average. The difference wasn't in their business models or market timing, it was in their approach to challenges and setbacks. When Nigerian entrepreneurs faced rejection from investors, they didn't internalize it as personal failure. They viewed it as evidence that they hadn't yet found the right partners for their vision. This mindset allowed them to maintain momentum through rejection cycles that typically destroy other entrepreneurs' confidence. The corporate world took notice. Major consulting firms like McKinsey, Bain, and other consulting groups began specifically recruiting from Nigerian universities. Tech giants like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon started targeting Nigerian talent not just for technical skills, but for what they called leadership potential. Jennifer, head of global talent at a company, explains that Nigerian employees consistently score higher on leadership assessments, show greater resilience during organizational changes, and demonstrate what she calls infectious confidence that elevates entire teams. But perhaps the most significant impact is in the field of psychology itself. Nigerian confidence is challenging Western models of self-esteem and confidence building. Traditional Western psychology focuses on building confidence through achievement and positive reinforcement. The Nigerian model suggests that confidence should be the starting point, not the end goal. Universities across Europe and North America are now incorporating Nigerian confidence principles into their psychology curricula. Business schools are teaching Nigerian approaches to resilience and leadership. Some Writers' Review published a landmark study titled The Nigerian Confidence Advantage that became one of their most downloaded articles. The ripple effects extend beyond individual success. Countries with significant Nigerian immigrant populations report higher rates of entrepreneurship, innovation, and economic growth in those communities. The confidence isn't just personal, it's economically transformative. Researchers wanted to understand the neurological basis of Nigerian confidence. Dr. Lisa, a neuroscientist, conducted brain imaging studies comparing Nigerian subjects with control groups from other cultures. Her findings revealed fascinating differences in neural pathways related to self-perception and stress response. Nigerian subjects showed increased activity in brain regions associated with positive self-regard and decreased activity in areas linked to self-doubt and anxiety. Most remarkably, these patterns appeared to be learned rather than genetic, suggesting that cultural practices had literally rewired their brains for confidence. The key difference was in what neuroscientists call default mode network activity. When most people's minds wander, they tend toward self-criticism and worry. Nigerian subjects' default mental state was significantly more positive and self-affirming. Their brains had been trained to assume the best about themselves and their circumstances. Dr. Lisa's team identified specific practices that contributed to these neural changes. The constant positive reinforcement from extended family networks created strong neural pathways for self-worth. The cultural emphasis on storytelling and oral tradition strengthened areas of the brain associated with positive future visualization. The community-based approach to problem-solving enhanced neural networks related to resourcefulness and optimism. Perhaps most importantly, the research revealed that these neural patterns could be developed at any age. The Nigerian Confidence Code wasn't just for people raised in Nigerian culture. It was a learnable system that could benefit anyone willing to adopt its principles. The implications for mental health treatment were profound. Instead of focusing primarily on fixing what's wrong, therapists began experimenting with Nigerian-inspired approaches that started from assumptions of client strength and capability. Early results showed faster recovery times and more sustainable improvements in self-esteem. Educational researchers began applying these findings to classroom settings. Schools that implemented Nigerian-inspired confidence-building practices saw improvements in student performance, reduced anxiety, and increased willingness to take on challenging tasks. The business world quickly recognized the applications. Leadership development programs began incorporating Nigerian confidence principles, focusing on assumed excellence rather than deficit-based improvement models. So how can you apply the Nigerian Confidence Code to your own life? The research has identified several key principles that anyone can implement, regardless of their cultural background. First is the principle of assumed excellence. Instead of trying to build confidence through achievements, start from the assumption that you already possess the qualities needed for success. This isn't about ignoring areas for improvement. It's about approaching growth from a foundation of self-worth rather than self-doubt. Second is the power of community reinforcement. Nigerians succeed partly because they're surrounded by people who believe in their potential. You can create this environment by carefully choosing who you spend time with and how you talk about yourself and others. Surround yourself with people who see your potential and speak to your strengths. Third is the reframing of adversity. Nigerian culture teaches that challenges are opportunities to demonstrate existing greatness rather than threats to self-worth. When you face setbacks, ask yourself not what's wrong with me, but how is this experience preparing me for greater success? Fourth is the practice of positive future visualization. Nigerians grow up hearing stories of success that feature people like them. Create your own success stories by regularly visualizing yourself achieving your goals in vivid detail. Make these visualizations feel inevitable rather than hopeful. Fifth is the integration of identity and aspiration. Nigerian confidence comes partly from seeing success as an expression of cultural identity rather than personal achievement. Connect your goals to something larger than yourself, whether that's family, community, or values you hold dear. The research shows that people who consistently apply these principles for 6 months or more develop measurably higher confidence levels, greater resilience to setbacks, and improved performance across various life domains. The Nigerian Confidence Code isn't about adopting someone else's culture. It's about learning from a system that has produced remarkable results and adapting those principles to your own life and circumstances. The world is studying Nigerian confidence because it represents a fundamentally different approach to human potential. Instead of seeing confidence as something to be earned through achievement, Nigerian culture treats it as an inherent human quality that simply needs to be recognized and expressed. This shift in perspective is transforming fields from psychology to business to education. It's showing us that confidence isn't just a nice-to-have personality trait. It's a learnable skill that can dramatically impact every aspect of life. The Nigerian Confidence Code offers hope for anyone who has struggled with self-doubt, imposter syndrome, or fear of failure. It suggests that confidence isn't reserved for a lucky few, but is accessible to anyone willing to adopt the right mindset and practices. As research continues, we're likely to see even more applications of these principles in therapy, education, leadership development, and personal growth. The Nigerian confidence phenomenon isn't just an interesting cultural observation. It's a roadmap for unlocking human potential that the world is only beginning to understand. The next time you meet someone with that unmistakable Nigerian confidence, remember that you're witnessing the result of centuries of cultural wisdom about human potential. And more importantly, remember that those same principles are available for you to learn and apply in your own journey toward unshakable confidence and success.